You are welcome to the Rock Stitches. Today I'll be cutting a bomber jacket, and for the bomber jacket I'll be needing just 3 measurements: the shoulder to shoulder measurement, the bust measurement, because the bust is the fullest part of the waist and the bust of the bodies, then the blouse length. The bust I'm working with is 35 inches, while the shoulder to shoulder I'm working with is 14 inches, and the blouse length I'm cutting is 22 inches. I thank all my subscribers for subscribing. I thank my viewers. Please, if you have not subscribed, don't forget to do so. Just press on the subscribe and press on the red button, so that by the time I upload, you'll be able to receive it easily. You'll be able to receive the notification. So let's get back to work without wasting any time. To measure, first I've laid my Ankara fabrics. The Ankara fabric is patterned, so if you look at it, it has pattern. So I want the pattern to be in the vertical form, so that is why I've already considered the pattern on my fabrics before I lay my fabrics. Then I'll be measuring 23 inches. The blouse length is 22 inches. Half seam for the shoulders and half seam allowance for the hem. So that will give me 1 inch. So 22 plus 1 gives me 23 inches. So I'm just ruling out 23 inches. I'm starting from this side because the front will be having zip. So I'm starting from this side. I will take the zip allowance. For the zip allowance, I'm measuring 3/4 inches, which is 3/4 of an inch, or 0.75 inches. So I'll be measuring that out, 0.75 inches. Then after that, I will take the shoulder to shoulder measurements. Let me move my camera so that you'll be able to see it. So the Ankara fabrics is a coat of many colors, so my chalk may blend with some colors on it, but I just hope you see what I'm doing. So I have the shoulder to shoulder is 14 inches plus 1 inch seam allowance. I have 15 divided by 2, that is 7.5. From the 7.5, I will come down by 1 inch, by 3/4 of an inch. So don't forget, I have a seam allowance there. I've almost even forgotten. So I'll first remove the ½ inch seam allowance. So let me remove the ½ inch seam allowance first. Then measuring from the outside the seam allowance, here is the seam allowance. Measuring from the clothes, from the line of the clothes, I place my tape measure, and I'm taking 0.75 inches down for the shoulder slope. Then here for the shoulder depth, I'm taking 3 inches. The shoulder width, sorry. Then the shoulder depth, I'm also taking 3 inches. So I'll join the slope. And use my cuff ruler to cuff out the neckline. So with this, I've carved out the neckline. The next thing is to take the shoulder depth. So the shoulder depth I'll be taking is 7.5. The back I'm working with is 7.5. So I'm also taking 7.5 for the shoulder depth, or armhole depth, sorry. So on the armhole line or the chest line, I'll be imputing the bust measurement, and the bust measurement I'm working with is 35. 35 divided by 4, that will give us 8.75 inches. So I'm going to mark out, leaving this seam allowance from this line. I will mark out 8.75 inches, then add 2 inches seam allowance. So everything I have there is 10.75. So I'm going to take that 10.75 down. So after taking that down, now I will draw out my armhole curve. I'm extending the 7.5 so that I can draw the armhole depth. So after drawing that, I'll look for the middle of the armhole depth. The middle of half of 7.5 will be 3.75. So then for the front curve, I'm going to come in by ½ inch. So here I have the back curve, which is on the armhole line. Then the one that the front curve will be on the one. I'm going to align it with the point with which I come in with. So if you look at it very well, here I have my back curve. This is for the back bodies and this for the front bodies. I'm going to cut on the back bodies first. So for here also, I'm going to take the back neckline. So I'll be taking 1 inch. And let me take ½ inch for the back neckline. So I'll just use my hand to make a slight curve. So now I can extend to the ½ inches, which is my seam allowance for the neckline. So here I'm going to also draw the ½ inch for the seam allowance. So this is my seam allowance for the shoulder line. Then the remaining ½ inch will be at the hem here, because the blouse I'm working with is 22 inches for the length. Now I can just cut, but I just want to take a recheck, make a recheck on my measurement before I cut out. So since I've clarified it, I'm sure that my measurement is correct. So I can just cut it out now. I'm cutting on the back first. I'm cutting on the back neckline and also on the back armhole curve. So this is the bodies for the bomber jacket Now before I go ahead, I'm going to use this to cut the back first, and to do that I will fold in this seam allowance, the zipper allowance that I'm having here. I will fold it in like so. I can use my pin to pin it down. So I'm going to place it. Let me see if this will be enough. It's not enough. So I will need to readjust my cloth. Because of the pattern on the dress, I'm looking at the pattern because I have a way that I want the designs to come out. If it's not a pattern dress, you can just cut anyhow you like. But because of the pattern on this dress, so I'm trying to figure out cutting out the pattern, cutting out the dress according to the pattern, so that everything won't be messed up by the time I finish sewing. So after cutting this out, this is for the back and this is for the front. Now I can now cut out the front neckline. And also cut out the front armhole depth, or armhole cuff, sorry. So let me just open it up. This is what I was trying to do. You see that the design that I have on my left is the same thing that I'm having on the right side of the dress. Then I have the other pattern at the back. So I'm going to put this aside, then I will cut on the sleeve. Now for the sleeve, I'll fold my fabric, I'll refold my fabric. The pattern on the bodies is taking the vertical line. Now for the sleeve, I want the pattern to take the horizontal line. So in order to do that, you see I've refold my cloth. So, and in order to do that, I will just measure. Now for the sleeve length, for the sleeve, I'll be needing the sleeve length, the sleeve circumference, and I'm using two circumference, the upper arm circumference and the circumference on the wrist. So for the sleeve length, I'll be taking 22 inches, 21 inches, though it's having a band, but not minding that, I'm going to take my exact 21 inches. So from here, I'll be taking 21 inches. Then on this end, this should be my wrist. So on the wrist, I'll be inputting the wrist measurement. I will have 2 inches seam allowance as well. Then the wrist I'm working with is 6 inches, half of 6.5. So half of 6.5 let me just round it off to 7. So I will have 3.5. Now I can adjust my cloth. Then 3.5 plus 2 inches. Then the biceps, for the bicep cuff, I will take the bicep depth, that is 12 divided by the bust measurement, which is 12 divided by 36, and that is 3. So I'll just take 3 1/4 for the biceps depth. So on this line, I will take the armhole depth measurement that I take, which is 7.5. Then I will add 2 inches as well. Draw a line from this 7.5. I will draw a diagonal line from this 7.5. Find the middle of the diagonal line. The diagonal line is 8.25 inches. So I find the middle. Then I'll use my armhole ruler to draw out the bicep cuff. Now I'll take the cuff. That is just the simple way to cut the sleeve. So using this, now I'm going to cut out the second sleeve. So I've cut this 2 sleeve going along with the design. You will observe that the design that is on this sleeve is the same thing that is on this sleeve. So the next thing now, I'm going to cut out the lining and the interfacing. So this is the band I'll be using for the hem of my bomber jacket and the neckline. So considering I've forgotten to create space for the band. In order to do that, you just measure the length of your band. The band I'm having here is 3.5 inches. So I'll be measuring 3 inches. The half inches is for seam allowance. So on my jacket here, I'll make sure I align the jacket back. So then I'll go up by 3 inches. I'll go up by 3 inches. And then I will also go in by 3 inches, and my 3 inches starts from the seam allowance. including the seam allowance or the zipper allowance. So that's how I want it. Your own, if you are measuring yours, if you want more Ankara at the front, you may go in more than that, but I don't want much Ankara at the front, so I'm taking 3 inches with the including the seam or the zipper allowance. Now I'm going to cut out this section because that is where my band will stay. The band also runs through the back. It runs through the back of the bodies. So I'm going to cut out 3 inches as well from the back. You can just place it. So I'll mark it out. So I've created space for my jackets and for my band. The next thing is to cut out the interfacing and to sew it round, and that will be in the next video. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Please, if you have not subscribed, don't forget to subscribe. Bye.